I've been talking about this stuff for over a decade, right? The mark of the beast. The second I heard about it, not even just in the Bible, but just the way it seems to be, like it made sense. It just clicked when I was 19 years old. So yeah, over 10 years. Check out something. We're gonna check things out in order. All right. So, just paraphrasing half of this.
The ultimate goal that these people have in mind is the goal to create a one world government run by the banking industry, run by the bankers,
Let's just make it go quicker. There's reasons for this. This is the most important video you're gonna watch, for real. One of them at least.
And they're doing it in sections. The European currency, the euro.
That's a little too fast. So he said, and they're doing it in sections.
And the euro government run by the banking industry, run by the bankers, and they're doing it in sections. The European currency, the euro, and the European Constitution is one part of it. Now they're trying to do it in America with the North American Union, right? And they want to create a new currency called the Amero, right? And the whole agenda is to create a one world government where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips, right? There'll be no more cash. And this is giving me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish. And all money will be in your chips. And so instead of having cash, anytime you have money in your chip, they can take out whatever they want to take out whenever they want to. If they say you owe us this much money in taxes, they just deduct it out of your chip digitally.
Total control.
Total control. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip. And you have nothing. You can't buy food. You can't do anything. It's total control of the people.
And that chip's connected to a database that has your purchasing records, what you do, what
everything,
you sell.
Everything is in there, you know? And so they want a one world government controlled by them, everybody being chipped, all your money in those chips, and they control the chips, and they control people, and you become a slave, you become a serf to these people. That's their goal, that's their intentions.
Eric, can you be specific about when you met Rockefeller, how it happened in these discussions?
I met Rockefeller through a female attorney I knew, who called me up one day and said, one of the Rockefellers would like to meet you. I had made a video called Mad as Hell, and he'd seen the video and wanted to meet me, and knew I was running for governor of Nevada. So sure, I'd love to meet him. And I met him, and I liked him, and he was a very, very smart man. And we used to talk and share ideas and thoughts. And he's the one who told me 11 months before 9/11 ever happened that there was going to be an event. Never told me what the event was going to be, but there was going to be an event. And out of that event, we were going to invade Afghanistan to run pipelines from the Caspian Sea. We were going to invade Iraq, you know, to take over the oil fields, establish a base in the Middle East, and make it all part of the New World Order. And we'd go after Chavez in Venezuela. And sure enough, later 9/11 happened. And I remember he was telling me how how you're going to see soldiers looking in caves for people in Afghanistan and Pakistan and all these places. And there's going to be this war on terror, which is no real enemy. And the whole thing is a giant hoax, you know, but it's a way for the government to take over the American people.
He told you it was going to be a hoax.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's no question. He says, there's going to be war on terror. And he's just laughing. There's no who are we fighting? I mean, why do you think 9/11 happened and then nothing's happened since then? Do you think that our security is so great here that these people who pulled off 9/11 who were able to can't knock down another plane? Come on, it's ridiculous. 9/11 was done by people in our own government and our own banking system to perpetuate the fear of the American people into.
All right, so there's decades upon decades of research, but check this out. This is the main topic.
Gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Foster
Okay, let's make this normal. That is normal. Okay.
is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Secretary Yellen, Chair Powell, I'd like to probe a little bit deeper on central bank digital currencies, and in particular, the need for a secure digital ID for participants. And therefore, a digital dollar will be crucially dependent on having an effective authentication component. That is a secure and legally traceable and maximally privacy-preserving way for
This is new, by the way.
participants to authenticate themselves as a unique, legally traceable individual, a secure digital ID, and it must be backed by a trusted court system and a clear legal regime to determine the conditions under which the participants might be unmasked. As a digital dollar, if it's to be used internationally, we're then going to need a digital ID system that operates internationally, at least among the free countries of the world. One of the things that is laid bare is the lack of, simply a list of citizens of the U.S. and in our ability to rapidly distribute funds, particularly to the underbanked. A high quality and universal digital ID.
A high quality and universal digital ID
in the U.S. would have made that immeasurably easier, as well as everything from, certificates or you name it. And so this has been, it's an ongoing discussion on many fronts. And there are also specific proposals. I believe you've had letters urging both of you to look into this in more detail. And so I was just wondering what the state, just as simply as a means for citizens to receive payments, as simply as a means for citizens to receive payments.
As simply as a means for citizens to receive payments.
Fed accounts, each one of us has, already an account with the federal government, the IRS at least. And I was wondering how you saw this part of the conversation going.
In London for us, Roxana, thank you very much. I
love this idea.
I love it too.
I love
Not everything is a slippery slope. Sometimes you're taking one step forward and that's all.
We get tracked digitally all the time now for all sorts of things. I have no problem. I have no problem.
I have no problem. I have no problem.
Yeah, I also find, guys, the honor system doesn't work here. It doesn't. No. Well, no one's asked us, but we approve.
But we're unanimous.
Yeah, we're unanimous.
The look of fear. It's coming, people. It's coming. I'm back. People are gonna say, oh, it's a conspiracy, it's this, that, and the third, it's not a big deal. But guys, it's coming. It's coming. I wonder if it even pops up. Just go to my channel. Okay.
I can't believe he just paid with his hand. Like, you just literally put your hand up and you're good to go. Like, that's crazy.
So, hold on. Right here. Remember Mythbusters back in the day?
I'm sorry. I'm not. It's not going to happen. Here's what happened. Here's what happened. I'm not sure how much of the story I'm allowed to tell, but I'll tell you what I know. We were going to do RFID, and on several levels, how hackable, how reliable, how trackable, et cetera, et cetera. And one of our researchers called up Texas Instruments, and they arranged a conference call between, I think, Tori and the head producer over there for the other team, Linda Wolkovich, and one of the technicians at Texas Instruments. We're supposed to have a conference call to talk about the technology on like Tuesday at 10 a.m. And Tuesday at 10 a.m., Linda and Tori get on the phone, and Texas Instruments comes on, along with Chief Legal Counsel for American Express, Visa, Discover.
Total control. Total control. And if...
Sorry, when I made this video, I was just putting points together.
This thing is by no means inert. The way it works is it actually picks up and amplifies ambient electromagnetic energy from the reader devices. And if you have one of these things in your arm and you get within range of a powerful electromagnetic field, it can actually burn you.
It can burn you.
Oh, and by the way, it can kill you if you get out of line. A closer look at the who and the why behind this idea.
All right, this next story may sound like something out of, a Hollywood thriller. A Saudi inventor has created a killer microchip. It's designed to track terrorists and criminals and Well, you can think of somebody. Not only does it include a GPS device, it also has a lethal dose of cyanide, which can be activated at any time. You get my point? The inventor's bid for a patent has been rejected in Germany. Joining us now this morning to talk about it, Jake Ward, deputy editor of Popular Science. Okay, this is pretty macabre.
Your phone as a payment method. We call that a proximity mobile payment. And we estimate that by the end of 2016, U.S. adults will spend $27 billion using their phone at the point of sale. But you look at that in the context in card volumes, I mean, that's a pretty small drop in the bucket.
Only using your phone to pay for things, you find that you're sort of pushed to two extremes. Really big chain stores or really small, niche, kind of overpriced coffee shops and places like that. A couple weeks into my experiment...
See, while the world was pretty much normal throughout all that point in time, no one was thinking, oh, a deadly blah, blah, blah is going to come and then shift the world in a way that will make this stuff seem like they're doing us a favor. Does that make sense? Like, oh, well, we're exchanging money. There's germs on money. This is just much quicker, more convenient, and you don't have to worry about your stuff getting stolen, and it's automated, and it's quick, and, you know, everyone always, they've been conditioning us for years, is always having something attached to us. It's all a plan by design. And they just slowly and slowly, but now it's starting to, like, become more rapid, just make us want, not fight against it, but actually want it. Gimme, gimme, gimme.
I ended up going to Sweden. Sweden happens to be way far ahead of the United States when it comes to getting rid of cash. I ended up meeting with some people who are really active in the biohacking community and found that you could actually implant an RFID NFC chip in your hand.
So take a deep breath with me and exhale.
And so I figured if I could put it in my hand, maybe I'd be able to pay for something with my hand.
That was it. Breathe.
Yeah.
Keep breathing.
How's it feel? It's like pinchy. It definitely hurt like way more than they said it was going to. It looks sort of like a grain of rice or like a pill that's in my hand.
I think the idea of using a microchip implant in one's hand to be able to make a payment, I do question the mainstream application of it, but I really think there might be other ways where that might come to fruition, not necessarily through like a surgical implant, but you know, through other kind of integrations with the body.
So once everything healed, I decided that I needed to start focusing on how to make this chip work. And I really wanted to become the first person to ever pay for a meal at a restaurant with their hand. Eventually I stumbled across a Venmo engineer who said that he could help me with my task. What they decided is that they would put my Venmo unique user ID onto my chip, which would basically make it so that any phone would recognize my hand as a Venmo app.
I'm gonna write your secret token for Venmo, and you're gonna go up there, they're gonna scan your hand, put how much we owe, that's it.
Takes a second. Here we go.
So you're good to go.
That was so sick, dude. That was sick.
Yes! That was insane!
We actually accomplished what we set out to do, and I kind of couldn't believe that it was...
Absolutely made it really clear to Discovery that they were not going to air this episode talking about how hackable this stuff was, and Discovery backed way down, being a large corporation who depends upon the revenue of the advertisers. And now it's on Discovery's radar, they won't let us go near it. So I'm sorry. No. We are, it's just one of those things, but man, that was a really, story still gets a little white when he
Because I'm in love with my kids' kids.
Because my car lost control while driving.
Because now I'm looking out for both of us.
Because I have diabetes, but it doesn't have me.
Because I spend my life in the ER trying to save yours.
Forgot your receipt.
Cameras and a beefy security guard looked on. Rather than arrest the young man for shoplifting, the officer says,
"Excuse me, sir. Forgot your receipt."
Checkout lines. Who needs them?
Have a nice day.
This is the future of e-business.
a tiny RFID microchip about the size of a grain of rice. However, at the time, the public wasn't ready to accept the device, and Verichip was bought out, and the technology became the interest of hobbyists and technophiles. Today, there are countless accounts of young people voluntarily receiving the chip as an injection. One such man partnered the device with Bitcoin and became a walking, talking e-wallet. Now, Visa is dipping its toes in the water by partnering with the University of Technology, Sydney. These transactions. Mobile phones. Already in the developing countries with the right regulatory framework, people are storing money digitally on their phones and using their phones to make purchases as if they were debit cards. Denmark has already taken the leap to a cashless society with a proposal to permit stores from rejecting cash for transactions as early as January of 2016. a poll of the population prospect of having a mark in their right hand or forehead that permits them to buy and sell. Some Christians believe that growing acceptance to a cashless society and subdermal implants to purchase goods and services will usher in the fulfillment of that scripture. Dr. Bem Lee Hunt.
So now what? What are you going to do? If I end up missing, it's because of this video, okay? But I did this for you. Now what are you going to do for others? To come back on in a second. Just bump the cord and it just see, they're already trying to cancel me.
A course director for
all right. So I urge you, don't take the microchip. Don't take anything that's implantable. Don't listen to these fools. They just want your soul. Only Jesus Christ can save you. Right hand up to God. Only Jesus Christ can save you. Okay? You might think this is crazy or wacky or whatever, or I'm a lunatic. Come on, focus. Doesn't want to focus. Let me zoom it out a bit. You might think whatever you want to think about me. I don't care, because it's not about me. It's about you and your soul. It's about your loved ones and their souls, your kids, your spouse, your best friends, your siblings, your neighbors, everybody. And I've been talking about this stuff for a long time. Even this video that I compiled 5 years ago or so, it still holds merit and truth. Like I said, this is just probably the most important video you're really ever going to watch. And this is just scratching the surface. Start reading your Bible, and as always, may the Lord Jesus Christ bless you. Have a good day, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. If not, you know why. Peace.